What is the Southern Woods cult? To answer this question, we need to delve into a story that all began on Reddit. The story starts on r/cults, with a cross post made in March 2020. It didn't say much, but the post contained an image of a skull and some obfuscated text that read, "Initiation begins soon. Entryway approaching Sunday." The original post was made on an account we would become very familiar with, u/RabbitBoyMidas. Over the next couple of days, a couple more posts would be made on the account. One was a video with a creepy song and some runes. The other was a pile of envelopes. On the latter post, numerous comments began to collect discussing the nature of the post. Personally, this was when I really began to take an interest in what was going on. I was not alone. After discussing the contents of the post, we moved to a Discord server to collect all that we knew. One fact that we had gathered was that messaging u/RabbitBoyMidas on Reddit actually brought up consistent results. It would seem that asking specific questions or stating certain words would reveal more information. Another find we made was that the envelope post was actually a puzzle. The words "the letter is" could be made out, suggesting that the hidden letter was 3, or C. Feeding this answer to Midas was, as it turned out, the solution. Another interesting occurrence in the timeline was a Discord member named Gutcrack. He was a part of the starting initiate group and was instrumental in our solving of the first puzzle. At some point, however, we realized that his timing and everything was suspicious. Immediately after getting his cover blown, Gutcrack was silenced by the cult. It was at this point that Phase 0 of initiation had been completed, and the real tests would begin. There were to be 4 main phases of initiation into the mysterious cult. The first was called the Heart, and was led by a cult member named Carver. Following the previous themes of puzzles and some sort of Nordic runes, posts would ensue for the following week. One of the biggest plot points in the story was the arrival of a blogger named Julie Bug. On her own subreddit, she began making posts detailing her journey to the Berkeley State Forest in search of the Southern Woods cult.
Hey guys, it's Julie Bug on the go here, and I'm currently investigating the Berkeley State Forest for the Southern Woods cult. A friend of mine tipped me off and gave me some information regarding them, so I'm currently searching the Berkeley State Woods and in search of the cult, and I'm hoping to either have them give me leads to them or, run into them somehow.
Users began commenting on her posts in an attempt to help her stay out of harm's way. This was to no avail, however, as it was soon learned that she was being followed and watched by the cult. Despite ominous carvings on trees and rocks spelling out death, she continued into the woods. Meanwhile, on RabbitBoyMidas, Carver would continue to make increasingly creepy posts. Along with the Reddit posts, accounts for the cult were found on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. The most disturbing content was probably the music found on the YouTube channel, however. In his posts, the reclusive Carver seemed to make reference to Julie, his kidnapper, the Cruel One, and a few others, such as his mother and other women who had been kidnapped. Along with these posts, there was reference to some sort of godlike being, Zilkon. He had horns and a monstrous figure, but not much else was known about him at that point. Returning to Julie's point of view, it was discovered that she had indeed found, or been found by the cult. She was kidnapped, and a countdown began. When the time was out, the initiates, those of us in the Discord, were forced to make a choice. The decision was between mercy and consequence. When consequence was chosen, it was found out that Julie was to enact revenge on Carver's behalf. The Cruel One, the very person who brought Carver into the cult, was to be punished for his actions with a carving of his own. Julie, who would perform the punishment, would be reborn as Julia and indoctrinated into the cult. With Phase 1 of initiation coming to a close, Carver impressed the first doctrine. Vengeance is encouraged and permitted in all facets when truly deserved. Phase 2 would be led by another prominent figure in the cult, Ulysses. Ulysses' phase was centered not around the heart, but instead the mind. These posts were far more math-centric and focused around a few important facts. There was a kidnapper who was captured by the cult, dubbed the Imbecile. There was also a 14-year-old girl that had went missing, named Melanie Malone. Throughout the phase, initiates were led to believe that the Imbecile was a child abductor that had stolen Melanie and was leaving behind hints about the crime. It soon came to light, however, that the Imbecile had been closely related to Ulysses as a child. Despite the abuse that Ulysses endured under his parents, his childhood therapist refused to intervene. As an act of vengeance, Ulysses had later kidnapped him, then proceeded to frame the kidnapping on him. Ulysses eventually gave initiates the choice to spare or kill the Imbecile. Despite a unanimous vote to spare the innocent man, Ulysses proceeded to carry out his form of justice. Melanie would become part of the cult, and Ulysses would leave us with the following doctrine. Look closer, and never believe what's in front of you, even when it looks like the only truth possible. Before long, another member of the Cromwellet showed up. As part of the upper echelon of members of the Southern Woods cult, Lionel would become our guide for Phase 3. Depicted as a tall, thin man with the head of a deer skull, Lionel's puzzle was focused on science, Greek characters, and the body. Eventually, Lionel's posts took on a sort of quiz phase. A module box would have several tiles, each with its own scenario and question. Initiates were meant to answer using their gut instinct. Answering these would provide the cult with information regarding each member's character and morality. About halfway through the phase, however, initiates were caught between Lionel and a new presence, Ghost 9. Ghost 9 not only started making cryptic posts on the main Reddit page, there were also hidden symbols on Lionel's posts and a Discord account messaging the initiates. Despite Lionel's orders to cease contact with Ghost 9, including a warrant for the cult to hunt us, initiates were able to learn some important backstory. Things quickly became more supernatural. According to some hidden documents, a special art piece called the Circle of Bennett was created. It used astrological symbols and contained a great amount of power. To control the so-called cyclical realms, a series of relics were created in the form of special symbols. Throughout time, certain people were suddenly granted with the knowledge of a specific symbol. Before long, however, these people would mysteriously disappear. One of the relic holders turned out to actually be the mother of someone the initiates had met before, Julie Bug, also known as Julia. It was also discovered that Ghost 9 was a woman named Kate, who had passed away due to cancer. In her life, however, she was Lionel's romantic partner. As a doctor, Lionel tried experimental surgery to cure her, but it was to no avail.
The time is at hand. You've done it. I am coming back. Finish my symbol and repeat the incantation.
Back away from that grave, you wretch.
Now it's wretch. Before, it was witch. Before that, cancerous pest. Of course, I remember a time when it was friend or partner.
Her goal was to be brought back to life using the Circle of Bennett, but before her reincarnation, Lionel made amends. He assured her that her death was accidental and convinced her to pass on. He melancholically ended his phase with the following doctrine. As long as your cause remains true, as long as you're certain that it is right, stay devoted. The fourth and final phase of initiation was focused on the soul and was led by a mysterious macrum, Tenant. Not much is known about him, nor his life. His posts only reveal bits and pieces that serve to describe the true nature of the Southern Woods cult. This phase taught us a little more about how the cult works. Although still mysterious, it has been gathered that the Southern Woods cult worships Zilkon, the horned rabbit god. He alone speaks to the head of the cult, Midas. Midas is the leader and founder, with 4 MacRambulet under him. These 4 are the same that led the phases of initiation. Under that, there are arch-burrowers and the common class, burrowers. Not long after learning about the cult, Tenant's phase was over, and the initiates were admitted into the cult. An invitation was extended to a specific Southern Woods cult Discord server, where things appeared to be calm. We didn't know, however, that the events of the cult had far from come to an end.